Hey there, Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project YouTube channel. Anyway, I'm at the park today. We have gotten so much rain in the desert here in Reno, and the parks, an older park called Idlewild Park. It has super older, mature trees. And right now it's just so beautiful along the river. I mean, the trees are just fully, full of themselves. Let's just say that, because they've gotten all their needs taken care of, excuse me. So I wanted to talk to you today about sage. And I'm going to talk to you about how I use sage, how I go out and collect it, and just some thoughts about it. So I use the sagebrush plant ceremonially, however, and it's a replacement for white sage just because I've never really found any of it growing natively or, heirloom-y in the whole area. So early on, my native teachers always told me that I needed to cultivate a relationship to the plants, materials, the beings, in this world, other than the human ones, on my own. And that this would actually help to energetically create a different imprint on the medicine and me utilizing it for what I was using it for. And, you already have the plant that's going to be used culinary wise or medicinally or ceremonially. So it already kind of has an imprint of other people using it in this way. There's already a consciousness, that surrounds it. So I deal with things in a spiritual way, in a native way, in all my relations way, my relations with everything around me. I have to learn how that plant likes to be approached, how it likes to be talked to, how it will communicate with me telepathically, teaches me about healing and energy. So we're going to just take sage. So I don't use white sage. I do buy some for certain types of cleansings and clearings. And when I do take stuff, I usually take, I might put out one sagebrush bundle at a ceremony, but I'll put out mostly like white sage as an offering to the lodge and to the people there and the people, doing the ceremony. However, when I go like clean a house or deal with anything ceremonially in my own world, I have a tendency to use my own medicine. And by that I mean, going out and collecting the sagebrush at a certain time of year and then wrapping them into wands. So most of the time in the store, you're going to see a white leaf sage that's in a smudge wand. And sometimes, they have other stuff wrapped in them. They may have some cedar or things like that. And traditionally, real tradition, native, they don't like crossing the medicine that way. Now, say they may, put sage into a smudge, burn cedar, but they're going to do it kind of as adding, like at different times, because each medicine has its own altar. Each medicine does a different thing. Each medicine is a different being. So it needs to be respected and honored for that. So in the past, I have done I've been asked by the tree beings to create different, smudge wands, different smudge wands with, like, say, for example, redwood leaf in it, some cedar. And these trees asked me to do it in behalf, so I did it for a year. So I wrapped other medicines into my wands. But I always use sagebrush because that's the sage I'm going to use for purification and cleaning. And you have to cultivate a relationship with whatever you're using. So sometimes you have to look in your environment and see what is equal, what can be used. So instead of white leaf sage, I use, sagebrush. It's how I work with the medicine that makes all the difference in the world. There's this really great story. There was this RN nurse that I took some herbal medicine classes, and she'd retired from being an RN, and she wanted to. And her and her husband bought a farm in the outskirts of kind of Nevada. And it was a herb farm where they cultivated herbs for medicinal usages. And she had done a little bit of work with a native woman surrounding native herbal medicinal plants. And the native woman always told the RN woman that, each medicine would have its actual own voice, and it would talk to you. If you asked, the plant medicines, the creator, to help you with a medicine that would be good for you, then you'll get a response back if you're really listening. So this woman's daughter got super, super sick and really high fevers and just all kinds of stuff. And she was trying all kinds of different medicinal plants, and nothing was working. She took her daughter to the doctor, and that wasn't working, antibiotics. Her daughter seemed to be getting worse. So she just prayed, this RN lady. She just prayed and just let it go and just said, look, I don't know which herbal medicine plant, I don't know which one of you that this is in your wheelhouse that you can heal my daughter, but I really need help. And I really need an answer to save my daughter. Thank you so much. So in the middle of the night, she woke up and she heard this voice. And the voice kept saying over and over again. It was real sultry, really, Chiquita banana kind of thing, And she said it was going, Belladonna, Belladonna, and she'd never heard that voice before. But she felt that the voice was telling her what kind of plant to use for her daughter's sickness. So she goes through all of her books, because if you give belladonna too much, can kill someone. But I think with everything, have a couple drinks or a lot of drinks and die of liver failure. Have a couple of tokes, or, be so stoned out of your mind that you injure yourself, or, hurt yourself, kind of a thing, and end your life. Anyway, so, it's always the same thing. Like, there's this happy medium with all plants. But anyway, so she looked in the book and found belladonna, and found that it actually could be used as a fever reducer. And it told, how much to make the fresh, dried plant. And she had some that she had grown. And then she made the mixtures and the teas and gave them to her daughter in a tea. And like within 3 days, her daughter was fully recovered. Not a shadow of a doubt. So she ended up being able to talk to this native woman like a couple of years later. And she said, I just want to tell you, you were right about, the plants have voices and they're people, and they have a consciousness, and they're talking to us. And she said, I had belladonna came to talk to me, and the native woman goes, oh, she's sultry, gave her this look like, oh, she's got a little sultry voice and everything. The RN woman was like, exactly, like I couldn't even believe it. So anyway, So that's the kind of thing that you're dealing with. And then the woman, you know, now had a relationship with the plant where the plant was actually speaking to her, and it's a voice, the voice that it has and that it utilizes. So once we start cultivating relationships with the things around us, you know, there's a whole communication process that starts. And so we have to really be ready. So sage, like the culinary sage, likes to grow amongst other plants. It can get along with other people. You know, it can kind of agree to disagree. It will, though, grow so large that it will block out everything. It doesn't really set off to poison and kill, but it will overgrow. It's kind of dominating plant. And the culinary sage will get along with others, but it still kind of has a dominating personality. Sagebrush, and I'm not really sure about white sage, if it grows well with others or gets along as a community, but I have a feeling that it's pretty dominant. So sagebrush, type of sage that I use for ceremonial purposes. Mind you, I have native friends that use the sagebrush, the poison and all, somehow get rid of the poison element and make, like, you know, drinkable medicines out of it for colds and flus and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, things can happen depending on what your relationship with that plant is. In some cases, plants use poison and things like that as protection. And if they don't have to be protective, you know, if they don't have to be protective against you because they have a relationship with you, they know you, they may be considerably less poisonous, or safer, you know, or not poisonous at all, or become medicine that you need. Maybe the plant, you know, has a kindness towards you and a relationship towards you in a way that it surrenders its poison part because it realizes on a higher level, a higher vibration, that it really needs to actually harness some nutrient for you or harness some medicine for you that will cure you. So, and I know that for some people, these kind of concepts are kind of far out there. So I'm just putting it out about sagebrush. So a couple of things about sagebrush is sagebrush doesn't play well with others. Sagebrush is pretty noxious. Wherever it grows, nothing really likes to grow around it because it will poison it out. So there's a radius ratio distance around the plant that things won't grow. They just won't grow because the plant is serious toxic. So it doesn't play well with others. It doesn't like anything in its space. And it's pretty dominating in its environment. And it also has, sagebrush has this amazing ability to really thrive when there's water, but to also like pull back on what it's creating in the plant, like how big the leaves are, how many leaves are on it, how many flowers it's going to flower, how much growth on drought. I mean, those plants will prepare. As soon as they start, sagebrush starts dealing with drought, it instantly starts pulling back because it doesn't really know how long it's going to need to survive. It could be like, 10 years, who knows? It doesn't know. So it has this amazing ability in how it utilizes water and how it adapts to water conditions. So it's an amazing, powerful plant. So when I use it, that medicine is coming with it. So it's a great thing to smudge your house with, to smoke it down, because it doesn't play well with others. It's reality or the highway. So you smoke it down, that sagebrush takes over, the smoke takes over the whole house, and it leaves no rock unturned because it doesn't like anything in its environment. And it doesn't say, well, you're a good energy, you can stay. Oh, you're a bad energy, you have to go. It cleans out all energy so everything becomes neutral and balanced, and then you can start over. In what kind of energy that you're utilizing. So it's like it deals with things in the same way that it grows. And then add on having a relationship with it, and that it knows that you're coming at a certain time of year. I've even, I've picked up sagebrush in other places. I've traveled through the United States, and I've seen some sagebrush and pulled off on the side of the highway and did some prayers and some collection. And so I've tried different medicines from different states, different sagebrush. I've even tried different places collecting it, like collecting it on the north, collecting it from the east, collecting it from the south, collecting it from the west. And usually I only do one thing. And then, usually so because I know these things about how the plant works, also because I recognize how the plant works, I've studied like how it grows, how it adapts to its different environment, because I've had a long period with it. I've had like 15 years maybe I've been collecting it. I don't know. Something like that. Long time. And sometimes at Christmas too, I'll collect enough where I can make some smudge wands for individual people that I give to them to help them, clear their house during the next year. So, and my prayers that always go into the sagebrush are just always thank you. Because thank you is always going to, if I'm saying thank you at the end of using the medicine, then that means that the medicine did the job exactly how it needed to be done. So thank you is always the best prayer to give while you're collecting whatever kind of medicine that you are getting, because in the end of it, once you use it, you're going to be really thankful, right? You're going to be saying, yeah, thank you. You did a good job, plant. So even when you're collecting it or singing to it or touching it or whatever you're doing with it, I just think the simplest prayer is thank you. Like I could go into saying 50 different prayers for every little thing that I'm doing as I'm doing the whole collection process. But I just like thank you. Thank you is good enough for me. Because that's how I want to live. I just want to live with thank you. Like everything's good and in a good way, that all that is required, that everything's so perfect and effortless, that all that is required is for me to say, oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, right? Okay, so how would I go about collecting sagebrush or sage, or maybe even culinary sage for cooking? Obviously, you should grow herbal medicine plants that you're going to use for cooking or for taking internally, because there's something that happens that when you have a process with the soil and you plant the plants and they become your friends and family, right? They look forward to seeing you too. And all of that gives them a reason to make you well, right? Because you give them a great life, give them nutrient and food and being outside with other plants, and gave them a place to live and become who they are. So they want to, make sure that you're well too. So they're going to produce medicine that's going to be, let's say, way higher vibrationally and probably way higher nutritionally. And sometimes it doesn't even matter how much stuff that you add into the soil. It can sometimes be a vibrational thing. And I really think that vibrational stuff is a type of medicine. I believe that sunlight is a serious medicine, like way far other than vitamin D3 or any vitamin A or anything else. Okay, so collection of the sagebrush. So usually what I do is I wait usually about the end of September, I start noticing, you know, out on the hikes and stuff, I start noticing that the sagebrush is flowering. It gets these little flowers on it, makes it a little bit thicker. And I've just learned from some of my teachers natively here in Nevada, that's the best time to collect it. Plus, the smell changes a little bit, and it really makes a beautiful smudge wand, sage bundle. They're just beautiful. So usually I start paying attention about the end of September, and I'm watching. And usually before the third week in October, third week being the latest, the sagebrush will call to me a couple days before it wants me to come out. And then I also wait for the location or the areas where I should go look to get it. So usually when I get these messages, you know, it's always like I always do a, I don't do a, I always get this wrong, a chalupa pipe. I'm not a pipe carrier. So I keep tobacco sacred, and I will roll tobacco and do a prayer smoke for the thank you and prayers, and also to ask, you know, like, is there anything different this year that I need to know? And that thank you for the sage for letting me know that it's time. And then I just wait for the information, and once I have it, then usually something happens and my day is cleared. Sometimes 2 days, it depends. Sometimes I go camping, and I'll collect for 2 days. And usually what I do is I get one of those foot baths things that are by themselves, like a plastic bucket. And I will, when I'm praying, you know, out there to go collect it, when I collect it, I put it into a bucket. And then I kind of let it set overnight, and it kind of will release a little bit of its tension. And then I'll wrap the wands usually the next day. And I prefer using red hemp yarn around them. I mean, the other color that gets used a lot by me is white too. And then so basically do all my prayers and everything. Then I make sure I have good pruners. I don't want to injure the plant. And then I know my location, and so I've got my plan, and I'm setting up to go out. And then when I get out there, then I do, you know, tobacco prayer onto the ground, prayers and offerings and thank you. And then I set in, and I find the plants that want to have their medicines collected, and I try to bundle them up in a community of different sagebrush from different plants. So I put them together into a community, so they have a bigger database and kind of a bigger understanding, working together for purifying and cleansing. And remember, all the prayers are always thank you, thank you, thank you. And the whole time I'm like, thank you, even when I'm wrapping them, until every last one is done, till I hang them all on the wall to dry. The last piece is thank you. And sometimes I'll touch the wand and thank it, you know, each individually. So that is kind of a little ditty about cultivating ceremonial plants for usage, and kind of an idea about sage and why it could be such a powerful, extremely powerful cleaning agent, because of, you know, its relationship of how it grows and the world, how it deals with the world around it. All right, so that's your teaching on sage today, ceremonial sage, and that's all I have for you. So have a great day. Bridget Lynn Dolgoff, Conscious of Economics and Urban Farm Project channel, and peace.